Hi, I'm James. In this video, I'm going to show you how to process a wedding shot into black and white. And one of the things about black and white is there are loads of different styles, but this is just one that I use. It's really nice, high contrast, and it's very easy to add a kind of vintage haziness to it, which I'll very briefly show you at the end. So to get started, I'm just going to rotate the image by holding down Control and then clicking on the left square bracket key. That's going to get the image the right way up. And before I get started, I'm just going to get the color temperature just right because I want all the tones to convert properly, really. Because the thing about black and white is that it's a conversion of colors into tones. So we need to make sure that everything is displaying as it should be. Let's just get this looking right in color first. So that's good. And I'm just going to increase the contrast up to 50. So there you can see it immediately increases. And the highlights are really burning out on the dress now because we've given it that contrast boost. So I'm just going to drag the highlight slider all the way down. And there you'll see everything comes back. I'm just going to increase the shadows up to about 60 because I want to get that kind of silvery look that you get, or you used to get, should I say, with fiber paper, because it had a higher amount of silver than resin coated paper. So to achieve that, it's just a case of playing with the shadows and highlights. And let's just have a quick zoom into the lens, make sure everything's okay. It's still looking quite bright, so what I'm going to do is just bring the white right down, and there we go. We've really pulled back all of that detail. So now I think it's time to actually click on black and white here and convert it to mono. So the basic conversion is looking quite good, but I want to frame the couple a bit more. So I'm going to use the radial filter, and I'm just going to drag that into size, and we'll drop it in there. We'll just bring that down slightly. So what I'm going to do is drop the exposure on the outside area here ever so slightly. This is actually set up now as an invert mask, so let's just change that around. And the feather is set to 100, which is quite high. I'm just going to bring it down to about 75. So the feathering is simply the way that it graduates from the full effect at the edges into the area in the center where there is no effect at all. So let's see how far we want to pull this down. So I think we can go a bit higher than 60. Let's go for about 70. I think that looks good. And I'm just going to click on that again to close it down. And now let's just go down to the HCL color and black and white options. And this is where we can change the way that tones actually convert to black and white. So the red is really affecting the skin. So I'm just going to bring that down ever so slightly from the amount it was before, just to darken those off. And there aren't really too many changes I need to make here. The changes that I could make are the greens and the yellows, where if I pull that over I can make the greens lighter or darker, and the yellows also apply to that area as well. But I think I'm just going to drag the greens across ever so slightly, and there we go. That's a really simple conversion. As I say, the great thing about these sliders is that they allow you to have full control over the way that colours convert to mono. Just to add a slight kind of vintage feel to this shot, because it is very high contrast, it is quite a modern black and white conversion. But if you want it to have that slightly older look about it, just go down to the black slider here, and just by dragging it over to the left you darken it off, which isn't really looking too good, but by dragging it to the right you actually lighten the blacks. And obviously 100 is too high. If you want to, just drag it over and keep dragging it until you get something that looks about right. So there, somewhere around 20, if I just Apple Z that, you'll see it just takes the edge off of the contrast. So that's one way of getting that conversion really quickly, and then just adding a slightly different effect if you want to. So that is how to convert your wedding shots to mono in Lightroom.